Good evening. It is Monday, November 28th. Happy Cyber Monday, and I hope everyone had a nice and happy Thanksgiving. We are, I guess, interrupting if you're interested. Monday Night Football, Falcons, and, excuse me, the Falcons. Not the Millennium Falcon, although the Packers offense looks like the Millennium Falcon right now. It is the Packers and the Eagles. I'm just thinking of all the birds possible. And we have an insanely large panel on today. Danimal is back for the first time in a couple of weeks, so we can all give him a nice warm welcome back. Rock the bar, nothing new. Eric, nothing new. Although I think Eric wasn't here last week. Happy. Gannon, the mainstay. Julia's back again, and Spentano, along with myself, Eli Karp. Again, if you're watching, please submit your questions. Not the total audience-tailored episode we were last time, but episode 21, The Giants Gondola. Thank you, Thomas Kennedy, if you're watching. You inspired us. Please do keep coming with those suggestions. So today we're going to keep it pretty simple. We're going to talk a lot about the NFL. You know, we are through 12 weeks. So we are 3/4 of the way through the season and almost to the playoffs. I know we're almost to the playoffs in our fantasy league. Some interesting scenarios breaking down. We can only trust the process for so long for some of us here on the screen. And then we'll get to some NBA storylines for our guys who like to talk, or gals, who like to talk about the NBA. So, without further ado, let's start talking about the Arizona Cardinals and how they have absolutely gone downhill. Gannon, you live near Arizona, so let's hand this one over to you.
To me, just watching the Vikings-Cardinals game, it looks like it's all Carson Palmer. David Johnson is carrying that offense, and they still have the same talented receiving core they had a year ago. Larry Fitzgerald, of course, Michael Floyd, J.J. Nelson is a very talented deep threat, but Carson Palmer has caused way too many turnovers in the red zone and on potential scoring drives. That has really turned the game around. Against the Vikings, he threw costly picks, including the pick 6 by Xavier Rhodes, and he's done it in multiple games this year. He did it again this week against Atlanta, and David Johnson cannot do everything for the team. Their defense is not quite as elite as they were last year, but they're still up there as one of the top defenses in the league, so there's no reason why this team should not be doing well. To me, it's all Carson Palmer, and once he retires, they got to be looking for a replacement soon if they want to contend again.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, the stat given by Scott Hansen on NFL Red Zone going into yesterday's game was that Arizona was the number 1 total defense. They have a stud running back. I think they have at least a halfway decent offensive line, which was pretty darn good last year. And I think it's got to all be put on Palmer. It's just, it hasn't clicked. And, they thought they were going to have him for another couple years. They could have a shot at the Super Bowl. Larry Fitzgerald's career is kind of dwindling down now, which is really unfortunate not to see him get a ring. But yeah, they really, I mean, for all the talent, they're only so young. So I think they need if Palmer is not the answer within the next year or two, they need a win now quarterback for a couple of years. And then maybe a couple of years after that, I think they cycle back to the draft, or maybe, they go to the draft and draft someone a little later to kind of supersede whoever comes after Palmer. But I don't know if he's the guy this year. I mean, what's the issue with him? Why is he so bad? I can't figure it out. He's thrown for yards. He's just not getting touchdowns, and he's throwing too many picks. Any other thoughts on the Arizona Cardinals? They were my far and away pick to win the Super Bowl. I will flat out admit. David Johnson, I will still hold on to my MVP pick for him because I think he's played at an MVP caliber level, but this team has been so unimpressive. Silence. I guess we all agree.
I wouldn't call David Johnson MVP just because purely the team isn't good enough to warrant an MVP. If you miss the playoffs, I don't think you can really win the MVP, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm just reading some of the interesting comments we have. Yes, it was past Crater's bedtime. Diamond Sword, do you think the safety made in the Broncos game was the cost of their loss? I will confess that I did not watch the majority of the game, except that I did see overtime. It was kind of weird for a 24-24 game going to overtime. All I heard from Chris Collinsworth was, "We've seen first-class defense all night." From I assume we had a few of you guys who watched the entire game. Was it really good defense the entire night? defensive-minded teams.
I think for both sides, the defensive line and linebackers and middle linebackers, they all had great games. They rushed the quarterbacks multiple times. But the safeties, both teams were beaten multiple times on both ends, especially for the Chiefs. Emmanuel Sanders and Flowers got around the cornerbacks and safeties many times on different read options. Just nothing seemed to work for either side on cornerback and defense. But on the defensive line, Justin Houston and Von Miller had phenomenal games.
Yeah, I mean, for all the crap that the Chiefs take, I mean, we always hear, oh, they're the most underrated team, but at the same time, it's not like they win over great teams by a lot, and it's not like, they're overly impressive, but they managed to get it done, and then they lose to Tampa. But now that loss at Tampa probably looks a lot better than it did last week, and then they go into Mile High. And I wouldn't say they stunned the Broncos, but I would say that they surprised the Broncos and everyone else with this outcome. And I'm sure Diamond Sword was, kind of checking his computer and seeing which team is in first place so he can hop on over to down to Dallas or, make his way up to New England or still possibly if Seattle's still open. Maybe they'll take a 13th sword. But, Eric.
Going back, I think it was Rock the Barnes' point, how each team's defense was getting destroyed. A guy for the Chiefs, Tyreek Hill, I think it was. He had, I just wanted to say this, an incredible stat. First guy with a receiving, punt return, and rushing, I think, touchdown since all the way back in '65 with Gale Sayers. And this is someone who's Chris Johnson's 40 time. It was his pro day, so it's technically not official. But he can fly. He's a burner. He blew by Chris Harris a lot that night.
Yeah, for all the lack of the Chiefs' big playability and how they don't have it, and Jeremy Maclin has been out and he's been even trash when he's been in the lineup. Tyreek Hill, he is a star in the making. I think Fantasy League's got to pick him up naturally based on how yesterday was the day that my bench went off, and it was by my choice that they were on the bench, not that they were the usual bench people. But, across my 3 leagues, I benched Mark Ingram, Michael Crabtree, Tyreek Hill, Brandon Marshall, among others. I mean, if I were Jake Osterman, I would have been benching Justin Tucker yesterday. That's how bad I was at managing my lineup. Nevertheless, I got the important win. But that just kind of goes to show you, Tyreek Hill, I am excited to see him keep playing and hopefully is a nice, long, illustrious career. Any other thoughts on the Broncos-Chiefs game? Because that had some eerie feelings of the other game that I stayed up to watch a few weeks ago, which was Spentano's worst nightmare, Arizona-Seattle. And by the way, Gannon, I forget who it was, but Diamond Sword was, what do you think about the field goal kick for the Vikings loss? ... Gannon.
I don't know what you want me to
You can go talk to him about it tomorrow. Danimal, I think it's time that you say something for the first time in a few weeks. So take us through it.
Oh, what did you say? My audio cut out again.
I said it's the first time you've been on in a few weeks. It's time you make some audio.
About what? Just
Speak. We want to hear you.
Well, it's Dan, rocking the Westward gear.
I find it interesting. Mr. Purple just called him Tyrell Hill. Expectations for it's actually not a bad question. Tyreek Hill, Malcolm Mitchell, and Taylor Gabriel, not only at the end of this year but going forward, I think that they are the future of this league. I mean, correct. I mean, they're all. I mean, Mitchell got some size on him. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, he's pretty
Patriots
big.
guys. I think he's got some decent size, but Tyreek Hill and Taylor Gabriel, they are just those shifty slot guys who are no more than maybe 5'10", 5'11", who can flat out fly and are very agile. They're very exciting. Again, they're not built on size, which is it's just fun to watch because it wasn't always given to them, and they're absolutely making the best of it. Who's better, Stephen Gostkowski or Blair Walsh? Well, let's say Blair Walsh has missed less kicks than Gostkowski in the last couple of weeks. So by that logic, I'm going with Blair Walsh. Anyone want to object to that? Gannon, what your thoughts on Kai Forbath so far?
I mean, he hasn't missed. He had the block, but that's not his fault. So better than Walsh so far.
You know, my cousins were over and for Thanksgiving, and we're watching the Vikings game, and of course they're going crazy, and I just could not stop making fun of TJ Clemmings throughout that game. He is just I can't even describe it. You plug any one of us in there, and we do a better job standing straight up than TJ Clemmings. Like, you wonder why Sam Bradford's going to tear 4 ACLs in his career. Well, that last one is going to going to happen because TJ Clemmings doesn't know how to move his feet and use his hands to stop the defensive lineman from coming after his quarterback. I mean, I just can't figure out how they can't find someone a little better than TJ Clemmings.
Well, I don't know if you watched the game. We lost yet another lineman in that one. I think it was Searles who went down. And at this point, we're kind of desperate. I think we only have 6 healthy linemen on the roster. Vikings do, so it's kind of a struggle to find anybody right now. So TJ Clemmings, believe it or not, might be the best solution there is.
A solution to a very murky substance, I'd say. Questions coming in. Yes, Diamond Sword. The New York Giants are 8-3. Way to go. And yes, Mr. Purple, I would say Mike Nugent, I would not be surprised if he were cut during the week. He has been absolutely awful. Even throughout his career, he hasn't been that good, but they've just kind of kept him around. But this is if Cincinnati is looking for an excuse to make any kind of amend this season, if they don't fire Marvin Lewis, they don't let something else happen, cut Mike Nugent. This guy is terrible. Not like Jake Oster right now, but I mean, really, that's what it calls for. Anyone else who thinks Mike Nugent is going to be around in Cincinnati at the end of the season? All right, there you have it, Mr. Purple.
I don't think anybody on Cincinnati is going to be around on the rest in Cincinnati at the end of the season.
Yeah, they'll be in Cleveland. All right. Should the Bengals sign Blair Walsh over Nugent? Wow. Actually, Mr. Purple, you're bringing up some great kicker questions today. Happy, should they sign Blair Walsh?
No, they should. I think.
No, it should not.
No,
they should not play Walsh.
I think Gavin. Yeah, no.
No. All right. That is the answer.
Actually, it would be comical. It would be comical if they signed Blair Walsh, somehow fought back to make the playoffs, and then in their first playoff game, he missed a field goal, and the Bengals have their streak of playoff losses continue. That would be.
That seems
I would
like a
appreciate that.
possibility.
I'd laugh.
Fontes Perfect would eat him.
I think the Bengals should sign Odell Beckham to kick for them. He seems to be able to do everything. If the Giants hadn't committed some stupid block in the back penalty on his punt, he would have had one at the house. So
Odell should be the Giants kicker.
I can't figure this out. So I get that Dwayne Harris was dealing with a couple of minor injuries over the last couple of games, but he's playing on offense, and yet he's not taking the kick returns. And then Bobby Rainey fumbles it, which kind of changed the complexion of the game. The Giants were playing, they were starting to get on a roll, and then Bobby Rainey turns it over. Where is Dwayne Harris there?
I think they're just
I can't
concerned with
figure it out. I know he
injuries.
hasn't been amazing this season, but he is fine.
He's had some quality returns. I mean, they've either been.
He's one of the better kick returners
Yeah,
in the league.
He was one of the best. I think he was the best one last year. He did
Last year he was far and away the best,
Yeah.
but this year he's been fine. But why? If he's playing on offense, why is
Muffing
he not
up
doing his specialty? Gannon, yes, Cordero Patterson. He's had a nice season. Next one.
Lucky Whitehead.
I don't
That's
understand
not even what I was saying.
with the Harris.
What were we gonna say?
I was saying Dwayne Allen. I remember him. He muffed a punt against Minnesota, and that drastically changed that game. So, I mean,
Wait, isn't Dwayne Allen the?
playing devil's advocate.
No, Dwayne Harris.
Dwayne Allen is Rock the Barn's favorite tight end.
You're messing up your Dwaynes.
Oh, my bad. Dwayne
You guys
Harris.
stole him from Dallas.
No, he didn't like being in Dallas because Dallas is a circus.
Oh.
Who is
Who else
better,
is there?
Brock
Wait, nothing
Osweiler
better than the
or
big
Keenum?
I'll take
Well,
a 10-1
Going on the
circus.
same logic that I went with Blair Walsh and and Stephen Gostkowski. Keenum has thrown less interceptions than Brock Osweiler in the last 2 weeks. So going by that, his Keenum is better than Brock Osweiler. The Keenum card is rolling along. The Osweiler ostrich is kind of bumping along and not going anywhere.
No, there's only one ostrich.
Yeah, and I think he throws a better ball than Brock Osweiler.
Best wiffle ball pitcher around.
No, he's not.
The Brockweiler. Oh, another good talking point from Mr. Purple. What are your opinions on Steve Smith? Is he a shoe-in Hall of Famer? Does he deserve a Super Bowl ring? Will he retire after the season no matter what? Well, the retiring question, I'm going to say I think he will, although you can never count him out. Never count Steve Smith out. He's retired about as many times as Brett Favre, and yet he's out there and he is making plays, and he will be making plays until I am in my grave. So the answer to that question is I don't know, but probably not. Shoe and Hall of Famer. Who wants to take the Steve Smith question of is he a Hall of Famer? Danimal.
I'd say so. Maybe he'll sneak in there, kind of low key. He's had a great career, and obviously we've seen him as he gets older. Nothing much has changed. He is a very consistent wide receiver throughout the years, and he's put up miraculous numbers, and I think he'll sneak in there.
Mm-hmm. So he's not won a Super Bowl. I think if there are two, yes, he certainly deserves a Super Bowl ring. I think he and Larry Fitzgerald are probably the two most deserving candidates left who have not won one yet. Eric?
He absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame. Probably not first ballot, but he'll definitely get in there. Over 1,000 receptions. I don't even know how many yards or touchdowns, but it's up there. Besides Cam Newton, and Cam Newton wasn't the MVP candidate he was when Steve Smith was still on there. His best quarterback has been Jake Delhomme. He's been playing with – exactly.
Panthers legend.
Duke Johnson.
But he produces year after year, and he's having a pretty good year this year, even when he's old, after the ACL surgery. And he – tremendous blocker as a receiver, I should say. Nasty stiff arm. I think he'll definitely be a Hall of Famer.
The comments are rolling in. I have to agree with that, Eric. Diamond Sword coming to his senses, and I think we will cautiously allow him onto the back of the Giants bandwagon as he says they are coming to the Super Bowl, and I hope you're right.
I'll allow it.
But please stick to the Broncos right now. They're not out of it yet. I
The
think
Raiders are going to
Happy,
go to the
you
Super
want to
Bowl.
get a thought in on Steve Smith?
Right.
No? All right. Audio seemed to
Raiders.
come up there for a second.
Super Bowl bound.
Patriots.
Raiders and
All right,
The
well,
Raiders.
let's hear some of our three-quarter season picks. As of this moment, let's get some Super Bowl matchups. Start with Julia.
I'm still not positive about the NFC, but for the AFC, I think the AFC Championship game could definitely be the Raiders and the Patriots. I don't know if that's I think that was, if I remember correctly, at SBC, a lot of people during the NFL prediction shows had the Raiders winning the Super Bowl. And I know that their schedule hasn't been so great, and as a friend pointed out to me earlier in the week, a lot of their wins haven't been so impressive, even though they have come back a lot of times to come from behind to win the games. But I think that
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing from a comment. Somebody just asked me what I thought of the running back Joan of Arc from Alabama. Julia, keep going.
Yeah, I think that a Raiders Patriots AFC Championship game could be a really interesting matchup, and I definitely like to see it, especially after I think it was the 2000 Tuck
One.
Yeah, I think that could be really interesting. And as for my NFC, I'm still not positive. I feel like it's a little bit more wide open. I know the Lions are on a bit of a roll right now, so if they can get into the playoffs, I think they could have a shot. Maybe even passing the divisional round, but I'm still not really sure yet. But Yeah, I think it could be the Raiders or the Patriots from the AFC going to the Super Bowl.
Eric?
Really completely just dissed the Cowboys.
Eric?
Oh, I'm so
But-
sorry. They'll probably lose the rest of the year.
And still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Eric, your pick?
Okay. So out of the NFC, my championship game is the Cowboys and the Seahawks. What's the Seahawks record? They have 3 losses and a
I think
tie.
they're 7-3-1. They're 8-3-1, I think.
7-3-1.
7-3-1.
So that loss and tie will definitely not help them because
Giants.
as of now the game would be in Dallas, and I'd feel much better like Cowboys' chances at home than against the 12th man. I have to go Cowboys for the NFC. And out of the AFC, I also think the Patriots and Raiders. That game will be played in Foxborough. Tom Brady doesn't lose in Foxborough in the regular season, let alone postseason.
Jets.
So
Okay.
that's why I got the
Weird.
AFC.
Eli,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I can't. Eric, that was the least original predictions you could possibly come up with.
Gannon picked the
Well,
Colts.
who do you want,
You
though?
gotta
All
go
right,
with
Gannon,
Browns
let's
and
go.
49ers?
Let's go.
Gannon, are the
Hold
Colts
on.
still
Gannon, you're going to
contenders?
go Vikings, Chargers.
No.
Vikings, Colts. Vikings, Colts.
No, okay.
Vikings.
Hold on. I think it was Mr. Purple who asked if the Patriots and the Broncos can play in the Super Bowl or something. It was
Oh my god.
Gannon, go ahead.
Oh Lord. I just think knowing the NFL, things never go to plan like that. It's not going to be your 4 best teams in the league in the Final Four. It's not that easy. Someone.
I mean, last year it was.
Gannon, you're getting compliments on your haircut. How does that feel?
Talk to Spantano about that. I got roasted in Evil Apples.
So who are you going with?
I think Kansas City has a good shot of finding their way into the AFC Championship game. I do think I'm not sure how much I trust Oakland's defense to stop a team like New England or Pittsburgh if it comes down the stretch.
But do you trust New England's defense to stop Oakland? They're honestly.
New England's
I really
defense
think
couldn't
that
stop the
Jamie
Jets
Foxx
yesterday.
trade is not looking very promising right now.
To me, what
in the near
I'm
future.
looking at is experience, and the Raiders do not have very much playoff experience on that roster, whereas the Patriots are a team that has been to the playoffs every year for 17 seasons. So that's just a team I trust more to get to the AFC Championship. I think I'm taking Chiefs Patriots in the AFC. In the NFC, I don't see I do agree with the Cowboys. I think are going to make the NFC Championship. And then I also don't trust Seattle. They've fallen in games against teams that they definitely should beat. They looked shaky earlier in the year. They lost to St. Louis. They barely beat Miami back when they were still Miami.
Wow, St. Louis. That's impressive. Even Bill Walsh hasn't lost to St. Louis this year.
Los Angeles. I forgot.
All right.
Oh,
All right. Thank you for that. All right, we're just going to stick to Super Bowl matchup. Rock the barn.
In the AFC, I have the Oakland Raiders, and I'm not sure, like many other people here, I'm not sure about the NFC yet. But I do have in the NFC Championship game, I have the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay, we're going with Super Bowl projections, not AFC and NFC championship.
I just said I'm not completely sure yet. I have one of those 2 teams in there.
Danimal?
Who's going to be in the divisional? The
Danimal?
Bears?
Yes.
Is Danimal here with the audio?
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think so.
Spit your fire.
Oh, so in the NFC, obviously it has to be the Cowboys. Zeke is just on fire. Dak, I don't want to talk about it. Everything about their team's pretty good. And NFC, you got some mediocre teams, but, you know, in the long run, they're just going to get crushed by Dallas anyways. In the AFC, it's a little more shaky a little bit. I mean, there's definitely some contenders. New England, of course, but Oakland is definitely giving people runs for their money. Obviously, the Khalil Mack is not easy to face, but their secondary on defense obviously isn't that good. So if New England and Oakland play, it's probably going to be a high-scoring game because New England's defense is on-fire trash can. And, yeah, so I think it'd be Dallas versus either Oakland or New England, but I wouldn't be surprised to see teams like Kansas City or even maybe Atlanta if they get lucky. I don't know. We'll see. There's still a lot of time to go.
All right, Spentano. I think have we come to you and then me
I still have to go.
And Happy, yes.
and Happy. All right, we'll get to Happy. Go ahead.
All right,
me?
so
Oh, no.
I can't really
Pick
the
against your
AFC
hometown team.
No, AFC. I'm going AFC first. I think that the only team that's going to contend with the Patriots is the Broncos, and that's only if their defense heats up, because defense does like prove in the playoffs. But I got to pick the Patriots. And then NFC, it's tough. It's a really tough pick. There's no clear 10-1 team
Vikings.
with 2 MVP contenders.
Tampa Bay
They
Buccaneers.
both happen to be rookies.
Just say it.
I'm looking for a team like that, and I don't know if I see one.
The Lions,
The Tampa
What
Bay
I-
Buccaneers.
Tigers.
What I do see is
Oh
are
my.
you growing out the flow?
What?
Are you growing out the flow?
Do I have a hat on?
I feel
What
like
do
I
you
see
mean?
something peeping out from the back.
This?
How did we go from the
I just took a
Cowboys
shower.
if Spentano was growing out his flow?
Because that's as far as the Cowboys are going to go. Happy?
Okay. My heart wants me to go with the Giants. That's not going to happen.
Hey, just talk to Diamond Sword. He says the Giants are going all the way.
I know, but
He's wrong. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going all the way.
you know
The
what?
Browns
I'm-
are going all the way.
just because I'm going Giants Patriots Part 3.
Oh God, not again.
I can't root for either of those teams. It's not fair.
I hate
Eli,
both
you're getting a
of
hair
them.
compliment.
I am getting a hair compliment. You know, where does that put you now, Gavin?
Because that, yeah.
I think Happy wins for best facial hair on this show.
I don't have any. That's not fair.
I just said Happy.
It's because you're a retired 8th grader, Danimal.
Seventh.
Hey, retired yet.
Thanks.
All right. So Happy, are you finished?
Yeah.
All right. So as much as I'd like not to go chalk, I can't pick the Cowboys, even if they might be now. I just feel like they're too young, and they're going to find a way not to make it to the Super Bowl. I hate the Seahawks. I really hate the Seahawks, but I feel like they could do it. But I'm not going to pick the Giants, because the Giants, frankly, they're just not good enough to make it to the Super Bowl. The Detroit Lions are a very similar situation to the Giants. They can close games. They may not know how to start them. They may not know how to blow out an opponent, but they finish, and finishing is probably the most important thing. As my gym teacher at my high school would say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. That being said, I just don't think that Detroit is full enough on either side of the ball. I think the Falcons are a little too much of a liability with all their injuries on defense, and if Matt Ryan isn't perfect, I don't think they win. I'm going to go with Seahawks Chiefs. So you can call it a little chalk and a half, if you will. Let's see what else is rolling in. Got a lot of things.
No one has
Wow,
faith in
lots
Tampa
of
Bay.
comments coming in.
Kathy or Clay.
I'm on the Jameis jetliner. There we go. Left for Jameis.
Apparently Westford's famous.
Still doing homework?
Okay, Nate Fisher, we may have to take this up. I'm not sure if we're gonna leave that off air. But let's keep going with this conversation now that we've made our Super Bowl picks. Who are going to be the two wild cards from each team, from each conference? We'll go to a couple people because we're not going to go to everyone on this one. There's too many things to get through. Rock the barn.
The Chiefs and Tampa Bay.
No.
Tampa Bay, is it like the Tampa Bay Jets that are disguised with a pirate and a cannon and a boat?
No, nope. Just good old fashioned the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Julia?
Good old fashioned.
From the NFC, definitely the Giants. They're not winning the division. Sorry. From the AFC, I don't know. What's the
Chiefs?
Steelers?
Are the Chiefs going to find a way to beat the Raiders again, and then I guess gain another game on them and win a division? They play at home this time, so there's a chance.
What's the Steelers' record right now? Because I feel like you can never count
Steelers
them
are
out.
6-5, but they're
He's
still
6-5.
behind.
I feel like you can
Hybrid-
never count them out. I don't know what it is about them.
They could also win the division.
That's true. That division's weird. I don't know. It should be interesting to see what happens.
It will be very interesting. My concern with the Giants is they're on a roll, but they're on a mediocre roll. If you ask me, it's probably the most, along with Miami, they're probably the most mediocre 6-game rolls I've ever seen in my life. The competition has not been amazing. Yes, they've taken care of business, but I wouldn't call it a walk in the park by any means. And now they really get to the meat of their schedule. Yeah, they had the Vikings and the Packers when they were somewhat relevant at the time, but now you get Pittsburgh, which is more desperate for a win than the Giants are. Then they get Dallas at home, incredibly exciting, tough game. Then they have Detroit at home at the Meadowlands, and then they go on the road and play Philly and Washington. Where are they going to get 2 wins to what I believe 10-6 is good enough to get in? Anyone think they're going to get to 10 wins? I like to think they will. I just don't know if they can. Happy thinks they're going to get to 10 wins. Anyone think they can win the next 5?
Yeah.
I think those last 2 games are way too tough.
We don't know how those teams will be at the end of the year, though. Sure, we're almost there, but you have no idea, what's going to happen in the next 3 weeks. What might dictate that? If who else is going to be in the wild card race at that point? Are the Vikings going to be able to get themselves back in it? Is one team from the NFC South going to be able to get themselves in? I don't see Arizona pulling themselves out. So then it becomes down to the NFC East, and what do they do? That tie, Dustin Hopkins' missed field goal against the Bengals is really killing the Redskins right now. That tie is a blemish and a half. Rock the barn.
I see this is no joke. I see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning 4 out of their next 5 games. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers play the Chargers in San Diego, the Saints at home, the Cowboys, and the Saints at in New Orleans. I can genuinely see them winning 4 of those 5 games.
You listed 4
going.
games.
You listed 4 games.
We never said we did math on this show. Oh, okay. Let's switch gears because I saw this a few minutes ago, but hadn't gotten to it. Let's talk some college football. We are approaching championship weekend. Where's it going from here? I think we were kind of having a discussion. What if Alabama lost on Saturday? Spoiler alert, they're still in. It comes down. Let me ask you quick questions. Let's go rapid fire, and I'm going to take the assumption. I'm just hoping. 1, I think Ohio State has secured their spot.
Yes.
2, I think that the winner of the Big Ten championship game at this point deserves to be in as well. And I think Clemson's in. And I think unless the committee really toughens up and they either give the boot to either Wisconsin or Penn State or possibly Ohio State, but I don't really see that happening, and they put Washington in. If Washington wins the Pac-12, I think it's Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and the winner of the Big Ten championship. So now, does anyone object to that scenario? Gannon.
I think with a Washington win over Colorado, who has proven to be a tough team late in the season, I think that would push them in over Clemson or perhaps the Big Ten championship winner. They've definitely got the resume with their losses coming to USC, who's definitely a good team. I'm not sure who their other one came to. I'd have to look it up. I know they lost to USC and someone else, but
Washington, I think they're only 1 loss.
Washington's
They're one
one.
loss.
well, with one
Yeah.
loss, their one loss is to somebody who's in the top 15.
But who are their wins
In
coming
the-
to? Who are their really how many good resume building wins do they have?
Not many.
They did beat Washington State pretty handedly this week.
Okay, but yeah, that's the difference. That's where I just come in. I see Wisconsin. They maybe have one more loss, but at the same time, their 2 losses are about as good as they get. Similar to Washington's loss, which wasn't a bad loss at all. I wouldn't call it as good as Wisconsin's losses, but it's pretty good. But then you look at Wisconsin's winning resume, and I think that is head and shoulders above a Washington win resume. Now, Penn State. Animal, would you like to, you're pretty silent over there, would you like to make your case for why Penn State should be in the playoff?
Well, Penn State, obviously, they're undefeated at home. After they lost to Pitt earlier this season, they kind of buckled it down and held it up. Obviously, that loss to Michigan was tough. And if we beat Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship, I think we'll get in. It might take a little work from the committee, but I think we can sneak our way in there at 4 and then get crushed or something like that. I just want to get in at least. But this is a really good team. Trace McSorley is a great quarterback, along with he used to be a Heisman candidate, probably not anymore, but Saquon Barkley, one of the best running backs in the Big Ten. And our defense with our linebacker core is just unstoppable this year, and we have a lot to prove, so I think we can sneak our way in there.
Why isn't Trace McSorley getting really much Heisman recognition?
I don't think I think he's just overshadowed by bigger names that we've already heard before. I mean, Lamar Jackson, we've heard his name all season. Trace McSorley, obviously, like you heard, we weren't thinking of him at week 1. He kind of picked it up later on. And I think he should be up there as like a Heisman candidate, but probably not going to win it.
Does Penn State have any other good wins besides Ohio State? Like good wins?
I mean, Iowa.
Is that it? Like it would in theory be Ohio State, Iowa, Wisconsin. That's it?
I guess so.
Yeah.
So if a Penn State team were to beat Wisconsin, do you put them in or do you put Washington in if they win?
Penn State.
Let's go to an unbiased party. Julia.
I'm not saying that because of this. I'm just because like Washington, the Big Ten's tougher than the Pac-12.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I agree. I totally
Big
agree
Ten.
with that. Big Ten's way tougher than the Pac-12. Yeah, I think you would put
Except
Penn State in.
I would put Penn State in.
Penn State.
Okay. Now probably the best game of the bunch. Let's do a rapid fire picks. Who wins the Big Ten championship? Spentano.
Penn State.
Julia.
Penn State.
Oh. Gannon.
I'm gonna be rooting for Penn State, but I'm gonna go with Wisconsin. I think they have more. Sorry, Daniel. I think they have more of that elite college football pedigree. I just see them outperforming Penn State team. It's kind of surprised everyone this year, whereas Wisconsin is somebody that was kind of expected to be really good. I know in my experience of watching college football, the Cinderella teams don't usually get their wish. That's just my thought on it. Is I think Wisconsin's going to get the win there.
You're right. Alabama always gets the wish. Happy.
Wisconsin, but I do want Penn State to win.
Eric.
Gannon, you stole my line. Rooting for Penn State, but it's going to be
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Same.
Rock the barn. The Buccaneers.
Texans?
The Brockweiler.
Penn State.
And we know Danimal. It's like he's Coach Corso. I'm going with the Wisconsin Badgers. I like Wisconsin. I think that their defense is going to travel. It's for real. I think both teams have exceeded their expectations by a mile, especially with Wisconsin's uncertainty at quarterback, having their seemingly promising redshirt freshman, although I don't know if he's going to play because he went out with an injury, and then Bart Houston, who has kind of stepped up and played pretty well. But I think it should be a fantastic game. We're having a lot of chatter going on in this box. People are going to play billiards.
Western Michigan.
We are just creating lifelong friends here on Under the Hood.
Western Michigan.
Western Michigan is undefeated.
Heisman front runner.
We gave Western Michigan some love the last couple episodes. There was no need to question our
Future
respect for the
future Cotton Bowl
Broncos of
champs.
Kalamazoo.
They are a top 4 team.
Julia, were you raising your hand?
Yeah, I think we need to bring up the Ohio State Michigan game that happened over the weekend, and I think we need to talk about that call at the end of the game.
Oh,
You know, my thought on, and we'll get right back to, my thought is, I think that maybe you could have called it a 4th down on the field, but once that it was called a 1st down, there is 0.00 chance it is being overturned. Julia?
You think because I don't think it was a 1st down. I really don't. I don't know.
I mean,
think
he ran right into the guy's button. I think that was the 1st down marker, so I don't think he got there personally. I thought he was. I thought
think
his
the ball
feet
crossed the plane.
I thought the ball
it
was
was his
behind.
feet. The feet came first, and
His
then
body crossed the plane, not the ball.
yeah, exactly. The ball didn't cross. I don't know.
It's conflicting. I'm just glad I didn't have that much skin in the game. The over went over, so we got some money. Gannon?
Well, I'd like to refer to our good friend Powers Trigg and his reference to his readings in scorecasting. I do think that had that game been played at the Big House, that would be a call that would be overturned, and it would be short of the 1st down marker, and Michigan would have won that game. But because it was played in Ohio State, I think that was the big difference maker in the call. I think refs are certainly influenced by the cheering of the fans around them. As soon as they walk into that booth, they're hearing thousands of fans just right in front of them going, "Make the right call," just screaming in their ear. So that's got to be a lot of pressure on the refs, and I think they certainly were influenced by the home field advantage.
It's just human reaction to not want to be absolutely wanted dead by 108,000 fans. So you can't really put them at fault there. But hey, we got a ton of recognition over this weekend. Going Under the Hood plenty of times. Our name was up on stadium billboards everywhere. The announcers were talking about us. We are just churning it along. So with that, I think that'll be Julia. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, just because you brought up the home field advantage thing with the refs, they can't do that, though. I don't care how loud the crowd is screaming or whatever. The refs are supposed to be there to be the biased judges of the game, and they can't let anything influence them. They have to be able to make the right call, and whether it was a home game for Ohio State or not, I don't care. That was the wrong call. And I think it completely cost Michigan a playoff spot, really.
On true 50-50 calls like that, where you could ask anyone and they would have a different opinion on it, I almost don't blame the officials for going with the home crowd in that scenario.
No, that's
because.
Go ahead.
Because that's one of those plays where there isn't a lot of evidence either way. So.
Do you know what we're looking at, Gannon?
Is it, "Hey Gannon, Vikings suck"?
Vikings suck, yes. So I think I think that signals that Diamond Sword is heading off to bed. Eric?
No offense.
I like to take a little bit.
Maybe it's Minnesota.
Both true.
I like to look through history for the calls like this. Going back to the infamous game, Pittsburgh.
The Tuck rule?
Pittsburgh. That too. No, but it does involve Oakland. Pittsburgh, Oakland, immaculate reception game. So, if the ref literally has been quoted saying, "Can we get protection for our lives?" Since the game was played in Pittsburgh, and obviously Frank Meyer scores that touchdown, and he said no, and then comes out of the telephone, touchdown, and then 6 years later, Dan Pastorini of the Oilers throws a touchdown to Mike Renfro, probably would have won the game for the Oilers, send them to the Super Bowl. But since they were in Pittsburgh, 1,000 people wanting to kill the refs, I don't think it would bias someone. And also, one more thing, 2002, the whole Bottlegate, I think it was Browns and I want to say Jaguars. Jesus Christ, those franchises are irrelevant. But anyway, call one against the Browns to blow them playoff game, and they were throwing bottles onto the field, and I think one official went to the hospital after the game. So going against the home crowd could really mess someone up.
And you have to do what you can to protect the refs because the crowd shouldn't do that, and the refs should be completely unbiased in game.
Well, Julia, you're
crowd is
thinking,
going to.
You're thinking
There's not
very
gonna be support for the crowd's not gonna be
idealistic. You know, Rockbar, when's the last time the
That's what the
Buccaneers?
ref is supposed
When's
to
the last
do.
time the Buccaneers won a playoff game?
2002.
It's gonna be this year, so.
All right.
When
You know,
the-
Was it 2002?
I want to say it was.
all the little
They're in the
rumors
Super Bowl in
saying
04,
that,
so-
you know, the NHL is going to test out the ball chips to really know where they're spotted. I think, you know, I don't know exactly how, you know, efficient and how accurate they be, but I think it's worth giving that a try. And, you know, so much for the reports of Thursday Night Football is going to be done away with in a couple of years. The NFL seems to be very steadfast on keeping it. Anyway, before we go, last quick thing, we got to go here. Thursday Night Football, keep or kick out? Let's start with Danimal.
Huh? What?
Keep or abolish Thursday Night Football?
Wait.
Keep or abolish Thursday Night Football?
Oh, that's this game. I was like, that's not nice to the teams. I'd say abolish. Usually people are very busy on Thursdays. I know I never tune in to Thursday Night Football unless it's my team playing. Honestly, some people barely watch Monday Night Football, and that it's more popular, obviously. But I think, except of abolishing it, maybe we could find a better day. But with college football and all these other sporting events going on, it's really tough to schedule. And they just probably should get rid of it.
I would love if they had a Friday night game. What, Barn?
Keep.
Eric?
I'll take this one.
Everyone's taking this
Good
one.
point. Sorry, my bad. I'd say abolish. The games are horrendous. No teams want to play it because it's only a 3-day week if you don't have a bye for it. So and the games are horrific. Like, listen to these star games. Jaguars and Titans.
At least we get cool color.
It was a great game.
Mario went off for me that week.
Bortles is the garbage time king.
But the Fancy Killers.
Yeah, Eric, you finish up?
No, I'm done.
All right, happy?
Get rid of it. There's no need for it.
All right. Hey, Gannon?
Abolished.
Julia?
I think they should put Thursday Night Football back to the way it was, where it started in like November. I think it used to start. It starts way too early now, and I know that was a big thing with the safety. But I used to love when Thursday Night Football started. I used to tune into all the games. They were more exciting when they started later in the season and made it more exciting to watch. So I think they should just put it back to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's in there for I think it's mostly in there for fantasy purposes and just having a game on another night of the week. Spentano?
Keep, but don't give the NFL fans Titans versus Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the last couple of years where they've made a concerted effort to make it divisional matchups. And they have a bunch of those this year, maybe not as much as last year. And the idea of Thursday Night Football isn't bad. You know, it's another night of football where nothing else is really competing with it besides maybe the Big Bang Theory and what used to be 2.5 Men. Rest in peace. But
It's Wednesday.
I mean, it's just not – all of a sudden now the players and teams are finally figuring out, you know, we can kind of complain and maybe we'll get some things. So we'll
I feel like –
Yeah.
like every other Thursday night the Jaguars play, and like no one wants to see the Jaguars. Like,
you know, I feel like every
They
other Sunday at 1 the Jaguars play.
Well, there you go.
Daniel?
Speaking of fantasy, Thursday night games kind of ruin it because it's like, oh, it's just Thursday. I have time. I can wait till Sunday, and then you wake up Friday morning, realize 6 of your players on your bench
And, you know,
out, which has happened.
then you realize you're Kenny Nelson.
several-
And then you realize, I want, there's a game tonight. Give me a reason to watch it. Let me start a player. And you're like Roman, and you end up starting Jerick McKinnon on Thanksgiving, and you could have started some other stud running back on Sunday just because you didn't want to wait. So it goes both ways. But that being
Also,
said,
the Color Rush uniforms are sick.
I am a fan of Color Rush. I'm not colorblind, so I can't speak for the colorblind population. But as a color seeing person, I can say that I do enjoy the Color Rush uniform. So thank you.
Last year, when the Jets and the Bills played each other, they looked like Christmas trees.
It was a horrendous game and horrendous colors. Well, thank you all for tuning in tonight. This went a little longer than I expected, but it was plenty good. We had lots of things to go around. Please join us next Monday, probably a little earlier, about 7 or 8. And we hope to see you then. Thank you and good night.